Good morning. It's November the 3rd. It's a Monday and I'm going to work. And we are 1 week into the second trimester. And to be honest, the first week of the second trimester for me sucked. Only because it was just, I ended up getting sick. I had to finalize grades, and there were a lot of technical things that are different at the elementary level with the report cards there versus the middle school level. Like, again, it was just one of those situations where something I took for granted on just being able to do without really thinking about it or just knowing how to do it. Like, I took for granted that I knew how to do it for the past 6 years. And when I taught elementary before, I obviously knew how to do it. But it had been a while since I did elementary report cards, and just knowing what the system was for that, and just the process of finalizing grades and meeting deadlines, all while being sick. And it was a week where I had one of those days where my emotions were just completely out of sorts. And the anxiety was high to the point where it was like affecting my physical health. Like, when I have those days where my anxiety is just like running rampant, I literally have chest pains. It almost feels like I'm dying, and it feels like unsustainable, and it's scary, and it's all the things. So, I'm really even surprised that I'm vlogging, because in the process of that week, I keep saying it, but I need, like, I have to continue to work on being more intentional about taking care of myself and prioritizing myself over others and things. So there was a day where I was like, maybe you just need like 30 days where you literally don't care about anything, or not anything, anyone or any additional thing but yourself. Like, obviously I'm going to go to work and do what I need to do, but just do what you have to do and take all the other energy you would have devoted to other things like social media and things like that, and pour it into yourself. And so I really was kind of like, I'll just take a break for 30 days to focus on myself. And there's still a part of me that wonders if I will. Like, I definitely think, and I have already scaled back how present I am on Instagram, just for a variety of reasons. I don't really have the time. I don't really even know what to post. I don't know. Like, it's just as different than what it used to be. I think in the past, I used to use Instagram as like, it was something I had to do to, I don't know, be seen or feel relevant or be exposed. I don't know. And whatever that feeling was that I had then, I just don't have it anymore. Like, people are going to find me. They're going to find me. If they enjoy my content, they'll engage. If they don't, they won't. And that's really all I can do at this point. So I already am there less. So that might not really change. I am trying to still upload or share my outfits, because a part of pouring into me is also doing things that I enjoyed a few years ago when I was less anxious, and sharing my outfits and interacting with people about stuff like that is something that I enjoy, but we'll see. So, good morning. Surprise to me that I'm here. After school, I'll probably share some of my thoughts as I'm starting the second trimester, things that I might want to do, or things that I think I'll do differently or change or adjust or add, as well as just kind of share how the day is going. But it's been rough, and I'm definitely glad I got myself back into therapy. To the point where I think I might need to go back to going every other week, because what I'm realizing is, you know, people say relationships are tough, and they are, but I think for me, what has been the toughest thing, aside from dating someone that has an extremely demanding schedule, because he is choosing to work, what am I looking at? I think I was looking at somebody's bare bottom on the sidewalk. He is choosing right now to work essentially 6 days a week, because that's what he feels like he needs to do. Oh my gosh. As a new fire captain, sometimes people make traffic choices that are actually just dangerous. Not helpful, just dangerous. That's what he's choosing to do as a new fire captain. Also, as one of the younger, I don't know if he may be one of the youngest fire captains in the country or the state. I can't remember what he said, and one of the few black fire captains. So there's all those layers that he's holding himself accountable to. Sorry, I had to get my code in for my iced coffee, but that's the choice he's making, and it sucks for me, it sucks for us, but I have to accept it and navigate that and what that means for me, to be honest. Like, there are times where I'm like, can I do this? But he is a great guy, and I do believe that he's worth it, so I'm thugging it out right now.
Beautiful. Have a great day.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Everybody's sleepy today.
It's Monday.
And all the guys are coming like here.
It's Monday.
I'm like, open your eyes. You're gonna crack. And I always tell them, be safe when you're on the road.
I know.
Thank
See you later.
Bye.
She's so pleasant. And she calls me beautiful every day. And who doesn't want to start the day like that? Hold on. Hi. Coffee? Yes. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
So relationships are hard. Mine, I feel like, is harder than the average because it is a very specific set of demands on both people. And relationships are hard for me because it's really like exposing things that I need to work on as an individual. And I think because I've had so much disappointment in romantic relationships, I have a very high level of like anxiety in general about just being in a relationship, as well as what I would probably call like insecurities that perpetuate anxiety. And I need to really get that fixed and work on myself so that I am just more secure in who I am, like professionally, intellectually. When it comes to setting a goal and accomplishing a goal, I'm very secure in myself. Like, I'm very confident that I will do what I need to do to accomplish what I need to accomplish. There's rarely any doubt in my mind that I'm going to make something happen, because I feel like if I work hard enough or put in the effort, it's going to happen. And you can't really do that in relationships because now you're dealing with two people. So I can't like set a SMART goal and then like make everything happen exactly the way that I want. And that is hard for me because I'm also someone that likes to know what's coming. I like to have a high level of certainty. I like to have a high level of predictability, and none of that really is inherent when you're in a relationship. So for me, it's just pointing out all the things that I need to work on that I haven't had to work on because I haven't really been in a relationship. So I am in it. Just one of the things I am going to be doing going forward and just being very consistent is really just refocusing on myself and taking care of myself and regulating my own emotions, and always knowing that I am the source of my happiness, and that a relationship is just icing on the cake, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay. I was okay before a relationship, and if something were to happen and this relationship ended, I will be okay afterwards. And I have to really be grounded in that and secure in myself, for myself, as also for the health of our relationship. So it's just hard to really have to confront yourself and the flaws that you have, and then put in the work. And as I have said, and my therapist has told me repeatedly, working on yourself is very hard. It's very mentally and emotionally exhausting, and sometimes it's just not fun, and I would dare say most of the time. So with that, my coffee is a 10. It's still $1 and some change. It's a little bit more expensive now because I've added an extra pump of sugar-free vanilla syrup, and that's added 30 cents, but it's still only $1.27 or something like that. And I panic and shudder at the thought if McDonald's ever takes this mobile app deal away, because then what will become of me? So I'm arrived. I'm gonna park. I'm gonna go in and start the day. And the other thing that I noticed in relationship to work is that all that anxiety about me, myself, relationships, and what's gonna happen, and is it gonna be okay, just all of that has really like robbed me of some of the mental clarity and focus I need to teach. So I have also told myself, you're gonna have to really actively tell yourself that when you are here, you don't have nothing to be worried about, or you should be thinking of nothing else but the task at hand, which is teaching these children. And that's what I'm gonna do. And I have to actively do that. It's more than a notion. It's more than just saying it. Like, I have to actively do it. So I am here. I hope you all are well. And I will talk to you probably after school. All right, it is 3:45. School's been out for a couple of hours. And we get out at 1:15 on Mondays. So what I was doing during that time is consulting my list of must-dos and getting those done. The big thing that I need to do today is finish lesson planning for Wonders. That I haven't even been able to start, but I'm going to do that from home, I believe, because we do have daylight savings, which means it's gonna get darker sooner, which means I gotta get home sooner. And planning for Wonders takes me a minute. So I don't even want to start getting into the thick of it here and then have to stop midway through. So I'm having an issue with CASP. Oh wait, is this it? So confusing. Sorry for the trouble. Every year CASP wipes out all accounts, and I don't think an account was set up for you this year. Receiving, okay, so I'll have to deal with that later. CASP is the testing interface that we use for state testing, but we also use it for interim assessments. And what's new to me that they do here is focused interim assessments, where it's an interim assessment that is focused on a specific skill set. So in order to do that, you have to log on to CASP. And earlier this year, I tried to log on and it was saying my password was incorrect. Then you click a link for you to reset the password, and I was clicking that link and never getting that email back. And so then I tried again, thinking like, oh, that was just a glitch that one day, because it was happening to me and one of the other 5th grade teachers. And so today I tried, and once again, it wasn't working. So I had to email our district kind of rep, and he just sent me an email saying like, I don't even have an account, like it wiped out my account, so I gotta fix that. So I was trying to get that done. What else did I do? I responded to emails. Had to do a couple of referrals. I really was busy. I couldn't tell you how time flew by so quickly, and yet when I say it out loud, it seems like I got nothing done. But I just came back from an admin meeting as one of the union reps. That was very easy. We don't have any concerns that we need to bring up to her, and she didn't really have any for us. So I came back. I was supposed to have a meeting with the parent, but they messaged me and said they need to reschedule that till tomorrow. So I'm essentially going to like clean myself up and head out. I don't have my slides ready for tomorrow. But I have a good sense of what I'm going to do. But first, let me tell you what I did. So, second trimester, let's reflect. One of the things I'm changing is, unfortunately, I had to remove soft starts from my class, or actually, let me rephrase that. Now soft starts is just relegated to Fridays. That will be the only day where they come in and they have that soft start time. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's something I heard about through my friend Jill, who has an Instagram account called Hello Fifth, and she would always talk about doing soft starts, and she would have posts, and initially I didn't know what it was, but it's basically where you, for me, you allow the class to come in, and for the first 15 minutes or so, they're just kind of easing their way into class. So they're doing a variety of self-selected activities. They could be doing Play-Doh, they could be drawing, they could be coloring. I had origami materials, cards, games like checkers, chess, Mancala, and the kids really liked it. But when I was doing my grades and entering in all the last minute stuff, one of the last grades that I will enter for language arts is whether or not they met their AR goal, and that counts as a test grade. And 85% of my class did not meet their goal. And of that 85%, a large portion of them weren't even close to meeting the goal. So it wasn't like they didn't meet the goal, but they were very close. A lot of them didn't meet the goal, and they were very far. And then in addition to that, they're not making adequate progress on ST Math. Now, I did tell the kids, and I do acknowledge, like, I'm not as familiar with ST math, so I need to kind of go in there and learn a little bit more about their journey and what's what. But I said, but you guys are familiar with ST math and how it works, and so my lack of knowledge should not affect whether or not you're getting on ST math and putting in the time you need to make adequate progress. So I said, with that, I have to adjust to what the class is doing. And I said, and part of your homework every night is to be reading a minimum of 35 minutes. And so I said, what that tells me in relationship to AR is that either A, some of you are going home and not reading at all, like you just are not reading, or you're going home and you're reading, but for some strange reason, you're just not taking AR tests. Okay, wouldn't make sense to me, but it's one of those two things. So I said, from now on Mondays and Wednesdays, instead of soft starts, you will have just strictly AR time. That is the only thing they can do. They can read their AR book, take tests if they need to. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it will be ST math. And then on Friday, you'll have soft starts. I said, because soft starts are nice, that's not anything I ever wanted to take from you, but I have to provide for you what you clearly are in need of. And you need some more time, you need more accountability, and so hopefully this will help with that. So that's one change I'm making for sure. And then in relationship with AR, I'm still kind of working through exactly how I'm gonna do it, because the nice thing about Renaissance Place now is that back in the day, I used to have to fill out these hand reports every week that said your child's point goal is this, they've earned this many points, they have this many points left to get, and they have until this day. Now, Renaissance Place is set up that when they log on, it tells them what % of the trimester has passed, and therefore what % of their goal they should be at, and then based on what they've done, what % of their goal are they at. So this morning, when I said your new goals have been established, I said, I don't send home written reports because AR tells you that. Every time you log in, you have access to that. So I said, going forward, every Friday at the end of the week, I'm gonna check how close you are to your progress, or how close you are to where you should be in meeting your AR goal, and you're gonna get a grade based on that. I haven't decided if I wanna make the points worth the % that they need to be at, and then the kids just get whatever percentage they are of that in point, represented by points, or if I want to make it like just double the points of a classwork assignment. Either way, I want it to be significant enough so that they understand that it truly is important. So I'm making that change. So soft starts is kind of greatly reduced. AR is going to be a little bit more rigidly enforced. And that's really the most concrete change. There are things I have in my head. I really want to get to a point where we are pulling guided reading groups. And when I taught third, I think I was doing both, guided reading groups and small groups for Wonders. The way the day is structured now, and the fact that now in elementary we have one additional day of PE and VAPA, like there's just less time during the week, so I don't know if I'd be able to do both now, and they're both important. So a part of me is like, maybe in one of those, whether it's guided reading or Wonders, I focus my attention on, like, maybe for Wonders, I focus my attention on the kids that are struggling the most with just navigating Wonders assessments, and maybe for guided reading, I'm, you know, pulling kids that are on level, but I don't know. But it's something that I need to think about. But aside from that, everything else is pretty much the same. I do think just mentally, like just pushing the kids to understand, like, this is some serious stuff. We did just have our trimester awards, and I think there were a lot of students who typically got like honor roll or principal's honor roll before that didn't quite hit that mark. And I know they were disappointed. I'm sure there are some parents that are disappointed, but I think what I appreciate about myself is that I'm confident in what I'm doing, and confident in the sense that I'm providing students everything they need, giving them the resources they need, giving them the tools they need, providing parents with everything they need, providing parents with all the tools that I can, and I'm holding them to a high standard. Like, I'm not dumbing anything down, I'm not watering it down, because that really is a disservice to the kids. And I've always felt that way regardless of what grade I taught. And I've had to have a few conversations with parents who are kind of like, well, this is not what we were expecting, or this has not happened before. And I do honestly say I can't speak to previous years and what's happened and what hasn't happened. All I know is the student I'm working with this year and where they're at in relationship to where they need to be with their academics and, you know, their responsibility level. And I do admit, like, I do tend to be a more... strict is not even the word. I think just the expectation and the standard that I hold tends to be higher, because I've always had this issue regardless of what grade I taught, where there's just a good little chunk of parents that are like, why? Why are you asking so much? And when I taught third, if you've been following me for a while, last year I had that, I called them my super fans last year, that little brigade of moms that were really doing the most. I had that before when I taught third. And that was really, that set of moms was really just kind of shell-shocked, because A, their kids that moved from second to third. Third is the first year of state testing. And I was really like getting those kids to work. And it felt like this huge jump. Like, one mom famously said, in second grade, they were just cutting and coloring all day. And I was like, honey, those days are gone. We don't have time to just be cutting and coloring all day. And so right now, as I'm thinking about parents being frustrated, I just have to hold on to the fact that I had that year, and I had those parents that were really frustrated in the beginning. But I will say, by the end of the year, most, if not all, of those parents came around and were actually very thankful for what I was doing, because they saw results in their child. They saw their child grow academically in their responsibility level, and they could tangibly see it. I had one grandma write me a letter. I had one mom who I think just didn't want to give me the satisfaction of telling me, so she went and told my principal at the time that her daughter had never grown that much. So that's kind of where I have to be right now, where I know I'm not hurting these kids. And like I've told parents, like, I taught at the middle school that I know that they're going to, and I know what's coming. And so, as I always say, I would not be able to put my head down at night sending them to sixth grade knowing I didn't really push them to get to where I think they need to be. So yes, they need to have mastered all their multiplication facts. At this point, the vast majority of them should not need any tools, shouldn't need a multiplication table, shouldn't need to count on their fingers to solve their basic facts. Mind you, that does not include kids that are on IEPs or have accommodations that they need, but just your standard student, they should just know it. So it's just like, those are going to be drills that come constantly. The writing standard, like, yes, they need to capitalize sentences, have punctuation, the sentences need to be complete. Yes, I'm reading the writing using a rubric and really grading it by the rubric. And I think that sometimes teachers want to avoid the pushback that's going to come from a parent, where you're not just giving them straight A's, or you don't really want to deal with that. But we are not helping ourselves as a profession. We are not helping ourselves as a nation. We are in the midst of a literacy crisis where kids just aren't reading and can't really process information the way they should. And I will not be contributing to that. And that is my TED Talk for the day. So with that being said, like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I am going full steam ahead. I'm not discouraged. And in some ways, I'm looking for ways, how can we be tighter in this class? How can I clean things up and be even better and get them prepared even more? Like, how can I be even more meticulous in what I'm doing in terms of the teaching and what I'm requiring of them? So as far as today, it was quick. We had our awards assembly, so that took about 30 minutes out of the day. And then I really only got to teach a math lesson. And we did the very beginnings of some goal setting that I'm gonna talk about in a second. So one of the things I love is, I love that I've taught fifth grade before, and I love that I taught fifth grade when we got this new math adoption. At the time it was new, we had Go Math, and it was right in the early stages of Common Core, where parents were just up in arms about some of the strategies. And so if you don't know, I have this whole series of videos that I made. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the entire math book because I ran out of time, I ran out of energy, but I would make these math videos for the lessons that I knew if a child went home and said, I need to solve this problem using partial products or using the distributive property, their parents would be like, what in the world are you talking about? So I would make videos for lessons that I thought that would be the case. And so now we're in chapters where I have those videos, and so I'm able to use them and look at my young, vibrant self. This Latanya, look at her. I don't, is this gonna open? Oh, it won't open because it's on YouTube, I think. Let's see. Where's my playlist? Okay, so you can see some of them here. Like this Latanya doesn't know anything about perimenopause, has all the energy in the world, doesn't know she's gonna be teaching through a pandemic, anything like that. And so I make these videos, and so now what I've been doing is I'm trying to see if I can show you the playlist. There we go. So I have some for 5th grade math. There we go, 5th grade math, 3rd grade math. That's terrible camera work. There we go. So I have some for 5th grade math, 3rd grade math, and so I've just been sharing the videos as we get to those lessons. So over here, all the ones that I did, I started in chapter 1, and I think I got all the way up to chapter 8 before I just ran out of time and I just couldn't get it done, and it makes me sad. But today we are doing lesson 1.8, and I watched my video last night because I was like, how did I teach that? And I was very thankful that I had the video to look at. So lesson 1.8, I'll show you a little bit. Lesson 1.8 is talking about how do you relate multiplication and division. And so I would do this little intro, talk about the essential question, and then I would work through some problems. Now, don't judge, the camera work is not the greatest, and for some reason in this video, every now and then it would fade in and fade out. But I show 2 strategies in this video. One is like making a model. And again, I'm writing sideways, so my writing is not the best. And then the other strategy is using the distributive property. So for today's math lesson, I didn't really follow the math book because the first strategy they were showing in Go Math was having the kids make this very large array. And I said, guys, we don't have time in our lives for you to be making a giant array, okay? So I said, we're gonna learn 2 strategies. Today, we're just gonna focus on the distributive property. And for tonight's homework, you're gonna do the odd problems using the distributive property. They are required to obviously show their work and check their answers. And then tomorrow we'll use the strategy where they make a model, and then they'll do the evens, and they'll have to use the make a model strategy. So with the distributive property, I really just break it down step by step. I use the whole analogy, like if someone was going to the gym and lifting weights or adding weights to, what is the technical name for that bar? To a weight bar. You wouldn't add all the weight to one side because that would make one side too heavy, harder to work with, harder to deal with. So you're gonna distribute the weight on both sides. So I said you wanna think of your parentheses as you distributing the weight. We talk about inverse operations. What does it mean when 2 operations are the inverse of each other? And then we talked about the difference between the dividend and the divisor. So like in the problem 126 divided by 6, I said 126 is the dividend, the number 6 is the divisor. So the first step I had them do was put their parentheses down, okay? 2 sets of parentheses. Put a multiplication sign in each of those parentheses, and the divisor is gonna go in each parenthesis, and then you're gonna put an addition sign in the middle. And then we walk through breaking it down that way. I'll link the video if you wanna see it explained in more detail, but I'm just thankful to have them, because then what I've been doing is I've been adding those to Google Classroom with the math notes, and I've been messaging parents to let them know, okay, for tonight's math homework there is a video if you want to take a look at it for your reference. So they have it, so it's right there. So I put the math notes, this was the math notes, sorry, and then the video is there. The kids can access the video at school because YouTube is blocked, but they can look at it when they get home. So we did that, and then hold on. Do I have a new message? I do not. Then we did some goal setting. So I told them, you know, I know some of you are disappointed about not making honor roll or principal's honor roll, or maybe just in general. So I said, now that we have a full week of the first trimester behind us, they got their report cards on Friday, they had the award assembly this morning. Your homework packet this week is going to be heavily focused on SMART goal setting. So I showed them a quick video on SMART goals that I found on Khan Academy, and then I got this product off of TPT that includes an article on setting goals. It explains SMART goals in here. Good practice for annotation, because on this page it tells them read the passage 2 times. After the second read, you're going to highlight a sentence that tells why people make goals, highlight a sentence that explains the parts of a SMART goal, and then highlight a sentence that you found important. And then they have 2 questions down here. Why do you think goals that you set should be realistic? And then they had to explain. And then what is one goal you have to improve yourself? How might you reach the goal? Explain. So I had them do that in class today. I collected it. I will be taking a writing grade from that, because that is an example of me being a little bit more rigid, because they are not writing with capitals to start their sentences and punctuation, nor are they writing neat when some of them could. So I let them know I'm gonna grade it. So I was making a very just basic rubric that I'm gonna attach that is just based on sentences. Are the sentences complete? Are there grammar errors? Is the penmanship neat? So I'm going to copy this little strip a few times and attach it and grade it. And then their homework packet, let me get one. All week they're going to have multiplication, because they do multiplication fluency every night. But then the secondary part of their homework packet, let me see, are going to be different aspects of establishing their SMART goal. And I did message their parents to let them know I would really appreciate it if you guys sat down with your child tonight and just really talked about, like, what's a goal that you want them to work on academically. And I told the kids, if you're not sure, just take a look at your grades, and let's start with, where did you score the lowest? One student was like, what if you're struggling in everything? I said, well, then pick the thing that you think is the most difficult for you right now, because we can't fix everything all at once. We got to just focus on one thing. So tonight they have this little model here. Let me turn the camera around. They have this little model for SMART goal brainstorming topics. So they're going to put the content area. So we talked about that would be a general subject like language arts, social studies, math, science. Then get specific within the content area. In this example, it's writing opinion pieces. And then content area with specific skill and task. Opinion pieces. Now this one, they also added writing a literary essay, opinion pieces. And then content area specific with skill and specific task. And then providing evidence in their literary essay, opinion pieces. So I said, you're just going to like start very broad and then get more and more narrow. And I said, and pick something you really feel strongly about, because we're going to stick with this all trimester. So this TPT product that I bought has like little goal check-ins and just ways to monitor their progress throughout the trimester. And I would really like to make use of that, because I think it's important for them to understand, like, you got to set goals. And I said, even if a student here got a 4.0, there's still a goal for them to set. There's always room to improve and get better at things. So we read that article, they answered those questions, we went over their homework packet, and as the read aloud today, I started but didn't get to finish. We read Thank You, Mr. Falker by Patricia Polacco. I think this book was suggested by the product, but it was a book I thought of also when I was like, I might want to do some goal setting. So that pretty much got us through the day, and then school was over. So what I'm gonna do now is, I think, finish printing out this rubric, just so that it's ready for tomorrow. I need to start leveling my students in guided reading tomorrow. I need to get everything situated with CASP. And that's it. I'm a little nervous about leveling the kids because I just haven't done it in years, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. No. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna just get all that stuff together and then I'm gonna head home so I can walk the dogs. It's only 4:11. It feels late because of daylight savings time, but all in all, it's been a good day. I don't have any complaints. I am continuing to focus on just, you know, regulating my emotions. I am a work in progress, excuse me. And I also need to go home and let me check my thing. I need to pay my bills and put my laundry away. And I have not made new callbacks for the month of November. I actually didn't make any new ones in October because they just got away from me. And so I kind of need to get that done for November. So let me stop chit-chatting and get myself out of here. I'm not gonna close the vlog because that just seems wrong right now. But we'll see. Maybe I'll decide to close it when I get home, and maybe I'll make it like a couple of days, but I'm not gonna close it now. Let's see. Luna, do you wanna do some ASMR with your ice? Hmm? What about that piece? No. Luna Sky. Look. Okay, that was fun. Wow, it's almost 8 o'clock already. I meant to eat earlier. I'm gonna end the vlog here. I got home, I don't even remember what time it was, but I got home, walked the dogs, took a shower, found something to wear for tomorrow, ironed, washed my face, all that. Talked to my firefighter for a little bit. Then I came downstairs, made sure I had everything set up on cast. I'm all good to go there, so I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Finished making my slides for tomorrow, uploaded those on Google Classroom, and then I just heated up my leftovers and I'm about to eat dinner. So I made shrimp fried rice yesterday with Blue Apron. It was one of those meals where I knew when it was done, I was gonna need something to go with it. So when I went to Trader Joe's over the weekend, I bought some of their Korean barbecue and I just cooked that in the air fryer over there. So I'm just eating the leftovers and we're gonna see how I feel about life after that. I haven't even begun to start planning wonders. But again, I'm trying to just come home and just do what I absolutely need to do and then honor where my mind, body, and spirit is at. So even if I do a little bit of planning, I'm not gonna get it all done, which is fine because we're not gonna start the next learning block tomorrow. And I don't even know what this week is gonna look like because tomorrow's Tuesday, we're doing the interim assessment and we're gonna start midweek, but then we won't have school on Monday and Tuesday. So it's just gonna be kind of off a little bit. So we'll see, I'm not gonna stress too much about it. But if you enjoyed following along with me on today's vlog, please give this video a thumbs up. If you can relate to anything that I'm choosing to share, like I'm talking about teaching, but I'm also talking about perimenopause, and I'm also talking about life, and I'm also talking about things that I'm realizing about myself at this stage. If you can relate to any of that or appreciate any of that, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment, feel free to do so. I will respond to as many as I can. And as always, I hope that you guys are well, and if you're not well, please be well. And I will see you in the next vlog. Until then, good night, goodbye. Oh, and I'm wearing my Barbie pajamas, so I feel extra special. Good night.